allowing wrist trips slip through the pitfalls. I just wanna chill with the big dogs. House on the hill with a big dog. Make it a ride, I'm taking a lot. So it's about time that I get what I got. And it's about time that I get what I need. And yes, I need to succeed. Know what I need it all. So I don't live with my back to the wall. Don't have to answer whenever you call. Who that on the line, it don't matter, dog. Oh, not at all. Oh, what a gift. Just to be rich and not giving a shit. Just to be rich and not giving a shit. Pinky up, I'm gonna take me a sip.
I need the cash. Money signs on every bag. Green in the eye of each lad. Pockets so fat like I'm smuggling packs. I only deal with my time in these maps. Role playing the tactician and craft. Art of success, if I dub it, is that. As dinners in fact guarantee for a hunter. When I see in the mirror who trumped me. I need my anthem to blare with some trumpets. Mama's fair for repair and she also consistently stable and nothing could offset me. A boss type beat, lead the starship stream through outer space. I'm a star, baby boo, better watch the race. And you'll see me live today and die trying to just don't break. Except all the bread we make with 2 hands. Better get your ball together and stretch bands. Do it all for as long as you can. Get a sandwich ready and go hand up baloney. Niggas just can't comprehend.
Yo, cash rules everything around me. In that I am drowning, cause I don't know accounting. Blame it on my school system, blame it on my county. In that I am drowning, blame it on my clowning. Blame it on my young and my dumb. And not knowing where it's from, and not knowing where it's going. Might as well throw it in the ocean. As I put my back in motion, might as well throw it on some drinks. Hit a Miami for 2 weeks, might as well throw it on the beach. I don't give a fuck about the economy. They ain't never helping those in poverty. They ain't never coming here to save you. Waiting on that trickle down in your brain boots. You the blood, sweat, and tears of this whole operation, though. You will make it operational, but don't deserve paid vacation, though. I don't know what I look like. Boo boo the fool, I'm losing my cool. I need to make moves, get my community under a groove. Like one nation, so we never lose. Nothing can stop us now. They will not knock us down. We will not chill while they chop us down. That is not simply allowed. I'm not the one to kowtow. Cash rules everything around me. In that I am drowning, cause I don't know accounting. Blame it on my school system, blame it on my county. In that I am drowning, blame it on my clowning. Blame it on my young and my dumb. And not knowing where it's from, and not knowing where it's going. Might as well throw it in the ocean. I put my back in motion, might as well throw it on some drinks. In a Miami for 2 weeks, might as well throw it on the beach. Oh yeah. She love to back it up when we in the club. She love to show me love. Oh yeah. She love to back it up when we in the club. She love to show me love. Oh yeah.
Baby girl, hold it right there. 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 Baby girl, hold it right there.
I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
This Washington football team beat the Steelers.
Right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode number 76. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your other wonderful, delightful amazing co-host Shaquille Brown.
And I'm everyone's co-host that won't toot his own horn like Shaq,
All right.
saying he's wonderful and amazing.
Humble.
Yeah, humble. That's what we'll call it. What's everybody doing tonight?
It's the last thing anybody shows humble about nothing.
Doing great tonight. Doing
That's
great.
good.
Another Wednesday night I get to spend with you. Just outstanding citizens here, folks.
We got a whole other week of NFL free agency news, and none of them happy. So cool.
On that note, would you guys like to open our show up with a nice cheers?
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
You're
to you,
Johnny
Neil.
Walker, 18. You little fancy people.
Wow, that's good. Get your hand in that bottle there, Shaq. Shaq came through with. I'm gonna hold it back here so you can see it a little better. Johnny Walker 18, which I didn't even know was a thing, but very fancy, very good, by the way. Malin,
Shaq, did you just get your tax return or something?
I mean, I did last week, but that has nothing to do with it.
No, I'm still sipping on the Buffalo Trace.
There you go.
I'm going on about 8 weeks on this bottle here.
Nice.
So,
What are you smoking
good
tonight?
staple. Oh, this is a Ave Maria cigar that I got in a pack from cigarbid.com. It's actually pretty nice.
Not sponsored, folks, but if any of those companies that we just mentioned would like to sponsor us, everything's down in the description below, so be free to hit us up.
So they have to use 1960s NASA equipment to apparently shoot stuff.
It's a
There you
whole
go.
other topic.
We
Folks,
can't put a man on the moon, but we can sure as hell make it look like we're from there with our technology.
in more ways than one. Folks, if you did not know, if you're listening to this and didn't know, we have a video version of the show that we live stream every single Wednesday night on YouTube, on the Melheim's Media YouTube channel. And if you click the first link down in your podcast description below, it will take you to the replay of the stream. You can click subscribe right from there. You can like the video. You can leave a comment. You can do all that great YouTube stuff right there. And then, of course, if you subscribe, you'll be notified every time we go live, as well as when the other shows right here on this network go up on the channel. So not just this podcast, but some other ones that are not quite as great as this one, but are still very, very good nonetheless. So be sure to subscribe and check out the video version, whether it's live or after the fact. So getting right into today's show, we got a lot to get into, folks. The NFL does an excellent job at staying relevant, even in March, and the season doesn't start until the fall. So props to the NFL for staying on top, even in the early months of the year. So free agency just opened up, like officially opened up, really just a few hours ago. But something that we want to throw out there right off the bat is the fact that Chandler Jones goes to Las Vegas. Malin, did you want to weigh in on Chandler Jones going to the Raiders?
Well, there's two things. One, I'm glad that Chandler Jones is no longer in my division. Because if we're not going to have Russell Wilson, we need it to be easier to win games inside our own division. So having Chandler Jones not in it is actually kind of nice. But the other thing I think is kind of funny is that ever since Russell Wilson decided that, yes, I want to get traded to the Denver Broncos, every team in the AFC West has been doing nothing but adding Pro Bowl pass rushers. That's all they've been doing. You got Khalil Mack. You got Chandler Jones. The Chiefs restructured Frank Clark's contract, so they didn't have to let him go. I will say that I thought that the Randy Gregory pickup from the Broncos was a pretty good pickup that they got, because I thought that he was going to re-sign with the Cowboys, but he decided not to. But now all of a sudden you have Russell Wilson, who, I mean, apparently he likes to run for his life because he does it a lot in the backfield. But now it just got like that much more difficult. Like the AFC West is like, oh, okay, so you want to add Russell Wilson? We're going to add all these people on defense, and we'll get into a couple other names that have gotten added later. So, I mean, that is just going to be a really fun division to watch.
Yeah, it is funny how as soon as Russ got there, it's like, all right, we cannot let him be comfortable back there. Let's just make sure that that's not the case. Staying in the AFC, Von Miller also went to the Bills, 6 years, $120 million, 32 of that guaranteed. 6 years for Von Miller is asinine. The Bills seem to be a pretty smart organization, but I don't know what the hell they were thinking on this one. My only thoughts, I hope that he is a lot like the Von Miller of the past, outside of this past year, the previous like 4 years or so where he barely played, because the last thing we need is their defense to be buffed up against my Patriots. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about Big Von Miller, 6 more years, $120 million?
I just think that's a long contract to really commit to Von Miller, really. I mean, if you do get prime out of him, which I don't see them getting the whole prime out of that time frame, yeah, worth the money, but
yeah.
Well, I think that it is 6 years, $120 million, but they can get out of the contract after the third year.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really signing him for like 3 years, $55 million, because I think he's $17.8 million a year for the first 3 years. They'll be able to get out of it after the next one. Now they will have some cap, they will have some dead money after that, which is the only reason why I think that it is maybe a little bit of a bad trade or bad signing. But they had to overspend to get him. And they needed a defense that could get after the quarterback a little bit more, because we saw what happened against the Chiefs last year. They could not get the Chiefs off the field to save their lives.
Yep.
But in 3 years, when Josh Allen's coming up for another contract extension and they're still trying to find talent in free agency and in the draft, they're going to have at least about $13 million in dead money for 2 years.
Right.
From Von Miller's contract. So it's going to be a little bit interesting in 3 years to kind of see where their cap is. So I guess the only thing they can really hope for is the NFL keeps getting more and more popular and that salary cap keeps going up and up and up, because I think it went up like $34 million this last year. So maybe that's what they're banking on.
Yeah, maybe. And with that, the big bombshell that came out over the weekend, Tom Brady said, "No, I am not retiring. In fact, I will be coming back to Tampa." This was an absolute shock, at least to me. Yeah, he'll be back as a Buck. And what do you guys think of TB12 returning to the promised land?
Most indecisive man known to mankind. He was probably sitting in his living room like, they offered A-Rod how much? Yeah, I'm going to come back real quick, squeeze in one more season. Honey, I know you want me to retire, but I'm going to come back and play football for at least another year. So, God bless Tom Brady. I just wish he would commit to a decision and go with it.
Malin?
Well, I mean, let's be clear. The most indecisive person in NFL history is Brett Favre.
Yep.
I think he retired as many times as he threw interceptions in the 2009 NFC Championship game, which was 4 against Saints. So, Brady's only done this once. I didn't want to see it. You could tell that this was probably going to happen, but I just didn't want to. The man has been in the NFL for over half of my life, and I'm 40 years old. So, I mean, at some point. But what a narcissistic move to make. And let some other people get some shine, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you got Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers being talked about. You got the NCAA selection going on, and all these young basketball players, and everybody has some fun. And what is it? It's just covered with Tampa Bay Bucks on every single network. Like, no one cared about Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament. Yeah. But what I think is interesting and I don't know if you believe, like, tell me if I'm absolutely crazy. I think he retired because I don't think he ever wanted to retire. I think he was trying to get to the 49ers. I really do. Because the talk is that there was real turmoil between him and Arians and the coaching staff. He didn't like the way that they weren't holding players accountable. That it wasn't as everyone as bought in as it was in 2020 when they won the Super Bowl. And I think he was trying to make a power play, kind of like Brett Favre did when he was retired, and then they let him go to the Vikings when he retired from the Jets. And so I think that he tried to do a power play and lost it because the Bucs came out last week and said, "Yeah, if he comes out of retirement, he's playing for the Bucs. We're not trading him to anyone. Like, that's not a business move." And then all of a sudden, like 5 days later, he comes out of retirement. So I think he wanted to go to San Francisco. I know he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs in 2020, but everyone knows that he's from the San Francisco area. San Francisco was his favorite team growing up. They do have a really good defense and some good weapons there. And I do not think that Trey Lance is ready to be the starting quarterback. So I think he was trying to get to San Francisco.
Shout out to Morgan in the chat. It says Tom saw those gas prices go up. I good old Morgan.
They got love him.
I don't buy too much into the San Francisco thing. I think it was him retiring in the first place. I think it was, like I said, like a month ago or whatever it was. His family probably pushing him out the door. Like, all right, enough is enough. You got to come spend time with us. Like, that's it. Come on. And I think him, sitting at home and, well, I shouldn't say really sitting at home because we all know he was still in great shape and was probably still doing his same old routine as normal. But him seeing these, off-season moves being made and the huge Russell Wilson trade, Aaron Rodgers staying where he was, the different other quarterbacks moving around, and him realizing, hey, my old division is still wide open. It's maybe even more wide open. The whole NFC is still right there for the taking. Why the hell am I sitting at home with my supermodel wife who is off doing her thing, my kids who don't give a damn and they're off doing their thing? I'm just here twiddling my thumbs and still throwing the football around with Alex Guerrero. Like, maybe, fuck this. I'm going back in here. 2 more years. I'll see you guys in 2 more years. I just think it was an itch that still needed to be scratched because his family pushed him out, and he knows they'll still be there a year, 2 years from now.
So you think he doesn't want to spend time with his supermodel wife and he hates his kids? That's why he came back?
No, the opposite. I think he does, but they're off doing their own things.
So they
Dad,
hate
we're
him.
busy.
Okay. Dad, you know what? We appreciate Derek Jeter's mansion that you were able to live in over the last few years and this $200 million yacht and going to Super Bowls and all that, but can you go back and get hit by defensive linemen because we don't really want you around?
Yeah, when you're used to it for 20 years, and like, man, you're never here anyway. So I'm gonna go. I'm hanging out with Rachel, Dad.
If anything, probably used to that man not being home, so they actually wake up and see this man walking around the living room. I was like,
"What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? You got something to be doing?"
Giselle was probably like, you know what? You're a lot cuter when you're at training camp. That's neat. No, but let's have some real talk here. So he's coming back to the Bucs, and like you said, it is wide open in the NFC. Now, the Seahawks were not going to be a contender really next year, anyways, even with Russell Wilson. They're good at racking up regular season wins the last 7 years. They've won 1 playoff game in 7 years, so they weren't going to do much. The 49ers were going to be starting Trey Lance, so you got to wonder what they're going to do. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray looked as pouty as a 4-year-old that's not potty trained and sitting in a dirty diaper on the sidelines against the Rams. It was just, I had never seen a professional football player sulk so much in my life. The Rams have lost key pieces. Hell, they just lost Von Miller today.
Yeah.
Yes, the Packers have Aaron Rodgers back. But I'm kind of interested, if New Orleans, because they're one of the three teams, if they're one of those, and I know we'll talk about Deshaun Watson later, but if they did land Deshaun Watson, how much more formidable would that Saints be? Just specifically the Saints in that division, because you got to think Michael Clayton will come back at that point, right? Like,
Right.
he'd want to come back then. He doesn't want, crab legs, Jameis throwing to him. So he's gonna come back. I think I said Clayton, but I meant Michael Thomas. And so I don't know. I just think that the division isn't necessarily as weak as you might think, because one of the other teams is also Carolina,
Right.
looking for Deshaun Watson. So, and you notice I didn't talk about the NFC East because no one cares about the NFC East. So what do you guys really think about the NFC with Brady back? Are they the favorites now, or?
I guess it depends on what happens from the next couple of days here with as far as who they keep and who else they get, because they obviously like we said a few weeks ago, they have a few questions that still need to be answered as far as their team goes outside of the quarterback. But now, just with him back, they are right there. I still think that Green Bay should be favored just a little, which I hate to even say, just seeing what they did the past 2 years. But just kind of by default, I do feel like they still have a more complete team. LA, I still think is right there, even with the people that they've lost. But outside of that, I think Tampa's still right up there in the running.
Yeah. Even with this Green Bay, and of course, depending on where Watson ends up, I think he'll play a big factor in what plays out. So it's hard to make a decision until we know where he's going to be, because that makes it, let's say he does end up in New Orleans, that's a big step for them.
Maybe I can go back home.
Yeah, that's a big step for them. Because, of course, they go from what? It's like Jameis Winston stays there in New Orleans.
Right.
It's a big step for Jameis Winston now Watson. So it's that does play a big factor on what does happen. So you'll see there's a lot of things going on with
that. It should be noted that if they do get Deshaun Watson, they would have to turn a majority of his $41 million cap hit this year into a signing bonus to get his cap at $8 million, so that they could afford him. Because let's not forget they are going to pay Taysom Hill $20 million next year. So that's kind of stupid. But you're right. They lost a couple offensive linemen, but they did pick up an offensive lineman from the Patriots. I don't remember what his name is. Do you remember his name, Jim? I don't remember his name. They did franchise Godwin. So everyone on the Patriots is expendable. That's why Tom Brady's not playing for him anymore. So they franchised Godwin, so they're going to have all their top targets back, except it was they did lose one of their tight ends to the Bills also. Drawing a blank on the name. But that's because I don't really care about Tampa Bay tight ends. But they did lose one of their tight ends. And so, I don't know. It's just the only thing I can hope for out of this whole Tom Brady mess. Because I've been dealing with Tampa Bay for 2 years now. And I thought I had it. I thought I had it buried. I thought it was gone. I thought the Bucks flags on the cars were gone. Everyone's going to have to go out and buy new Bucks flags for their cars because they already threw them in the trash. They were not thinking they were going to be good for another 20 years, so they weren't even keeping them in the garage. They just threw them away. So they got to go to the gas stations and buy new flags for the cars.
That's how long they go between
Super Bowls. It's going to be a nice little
anymore.
hype train. Yeah, so it's going to be a nice little hype train again. But now we got to sit through another year at Tampa Bay.
I hate it.
So the only thing I can hope for is that Tom Brady, just like he's trying to pull a Brett Favre coming out of retirement, I hope he just stays 1 year too long, and he has a very mediocre year, and the Bucks are mediocre, and Bucks fans have to sit there and watch it the entire time. And then he doesn't get to go out with an MVP level season. He has to go out with Did he stay a year too long versus did he leave a year too early? So I hope he kind of takes that little chink on the arm there a little bit. Not gonna lie, because again, fuck Tampa Bay. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. You win one title every 20 years, and you have a good and you win one title every 20 years, and you have a good hockey team, and that makes you Tampa Bay. Like, shut up. So yeah, Tom Brady's back.
And this week's episode are Tampa fans.
Yeah, people in the Tampa area that sell avocado ice cream, their business just doubled. So that's great.
They're like, we're still alive. We're still alive.
One more year.
If you guys want some tofu gelato, like Tom Brady eats that on Sundays after games. So
That a Tampa strip clubs within 5 miles of the stadium.
I don't know why I had to bring that in.
Look, if you've ever driven down Dale Mabry every Sunday afternoon, it's pure chaos. I work off of there, and those places are popping after every game for some odd reason. The traffic is ridiculous.
Some odd reason. I mean, first of all, you got a bunch of people drinking $6 $15 beers. So I'm amazed they even have money to spend in the strip club when they leave, but they're all liquored up and probably don't want to go home to their wives and children, just like Brady doesn't want to. So why not go there? So that's Tampa people for you.
Shout out to G Money here in the chat for the 900th week in a row. G Money always holding it down right here, folks. Moving into
G Money's been in the chat for 4 years longer than we've been doing the show.
Just waiting for the show to spawn in.
He's beating time itself. Moving into the news for the week.
Today's top stories and breaking news.
All right, so to open up the news for the week, I wanted to mention the kids and the couple adults that were killed in the car accident. The kids that were from University of or Southwestern University, basically. The golf team, they got caught up and 9 people were killed. I just figured that we should mention, unfortunately, when just random crazy stuff like this happens, like a lot of young people just randomly for no particular reason lost their life. Mauricio Sanchez, Travis Garcia, Jackson Zinn, Carissa Rains, Lacey Stone, Tiago Sousa, Heinrich Simons, Tyler James, and then there was a boy who was presumably underage who was not named, at least so far. So God bless them. Their families. Really sad to see that. I don't know if you guys want to mention anything on that, but God bless them.
It just comes out.
I know.
Go ahead, man.
I know some people that have gone to Southwestern University. It's actually a Bible college with the denomination that I'm affiliated with is a pastor through the Assemblies of God, and so I know probably about a dozen people have graduated from there, and I've heard from probably about 3 or 4 of them since it happened. And it is really sad. It's tragic. When you're on a golf team for a university like Southwestern University, you're doing it just simply for the love of the game. In amateur sports, you're not necessarily doing it because you think you're going to get to the pro tour. And so you just really hate to see senseless tragedies like that. So my hearts and my prayers are out to the families, the university, the professors, anyone that has been involved, friends, family, all that. Just definitely praying for them for some comfort and understanding.
I like the second mail about prayers out to the families and everybody. It's just one of those things that be safe out there, everybody. Things happen and just be aware.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, life does take turns unexpectedly, so just
enjoy it, man. Enjoy it while you're here, because this is one of those things that just sounded really, really random. And yeah.
Tomorrow's a whole different thing and things happen, so just beware.
In other news, a much lighter note, Spencer Dinwiddie just beat the Brooklyn Nets at home on a buzzer beater 3.
You got to be kidding me.
The Nets at home are a different breed.
Yeah, they don't even have Kyrie playing for him at home. I'm so sick of basketball right now, and we'll get into it with the Ride or Die time on my picks lately. I mean, they beat the brakes off of the Nets by 29 points, and then someone named Dimwitty.
I mean, the Nets beat the brakes off the Magic yesterday.
Yeah, the Nets. Yeah, Brooklyn beat Philadelphia last week. That's one of our picks.
Yeah, and that too.
Yeah, and then you just beat the brakes off Orlando, and I just the only thing that made me feel good about the Brooklyn Philly thing was that Shaq voted for Philly too.
All right,
we all went down on that one.
I was concerned.
America, when that was happening, the only question Malin asked was, "Did we all pick Philly?"
How do you go into your locker room losing to a guy named Dimwitty? Like, how do you even go to the press conference? How does? I don't know. Damn. I hate basketball right now. Okay, let's get into the fun news. So we got a fun few topics here.
Starting off, so Shaq's Pittsburgh Steelers finally said, "We found our guy, our man, our myth, our legend. Come save us, Mitch."
Woo. Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky signed 2 years, little over $14 million, up to $27 million with his incentives, as in if you can throw the ball for 4 completions a game, we'll give you $1 a game. Shaq, what do you think about your team? He's gonna have to battle out in a great Lord of the Rings-esque duel against Mason Rudolph. Who do you think is gonna win that be your starter?
Clearly, Mason Rudolph is only built to be a best number 2. Y'all know if you end up with Rudolph being a starter, that's the biggest waste of money known to mankind. If I do think this man is not the worst pick when it comes to all of our options and choices we could have made. I ain't stupid enough to buy a jersey for this man. Trubisky Steelers jersey. Bad enough that if I bought the jersey, it's bad juju just on site when I walk into the sports store. Like I said, it's much better than trying to draft a quarterback. What was our other option? Try and pick a Winston off of some exactly.
Jimmy G.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo. No. So in my opinion, this is probably one of the best options. We know this is just them trying to stay relevant for the sake of, we're kind of sort of in a rebuild when it comes to quarterback. So I'll take that. God bless.
Malin, what do you think about old Mitchell?
Ooh, okay, a few things here. Before I get into what I was really going to talk about, let's just cover a couple things that Shaq just talked about. One, I don't think you're going to have an easy time walking into any sports store and finding a Mitchell Trubisky jersey. I think that's going to be a special order. I don't think that's a rack jerszy.
Who?
Okay? I don't think you have a problem with him being top
for
10
34
jersey
yards
sales.
last season. 34.
And he was the backup to Josh Allen. What did you want him to do? So second, for the last 2 years on this show, all you've done is rail on Big Ben.
Yeah.
Why am
And I just think it is poetic justice that now you have to sit through Mitchell Trubisky. So that's the second thing. That I think that you reap what you sow. Poetic justice is being served. You're going from Big Ben to Mitchell Trubisky. Now the second thing, third thing, Jalen talked about the quarterback competition between Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky. They're going to walk into the quarterback room and Rudolph's going to wink at him and ask for his autograph, and that's going to be the whole quarterback competition. Like, there's no way Mason Rudolph is getting the quarterback job. And if he does, then that's just a waste of money they just gave to Trubisky. And if Mason Rudolph is a quarterback of the Steelers, that means that Mike Tomlin is conceding his record for never having a losing season. Okay, so that is a given if that happens. Now, so Mitchell Trubisky, otherwise could be known as Mitchell Trubisky. See what I did there?
Hey.
Why? Because the man threw 38 interceptions in 3 years in Chicago. 38.
It's also Chicago.
Just to give you a little bit of perspective, Aaron Rodgers threw 12 in those 3 years. So same division. One quarterback is a little different than the other. But no. So in all fairness, because we pick on someone like Mitchell Trubisky all the time, I do think that he's actually a solid pickup for what their options were. I don't think you're drafting Kirby Pickett in the draft. Why? Because in the NFL Combat, they said he had little hands. Really? Yeah, little hands. Only 8.5 inches, and Pittsburgh does have bad weather, so that should say that he's probably going to fumble the ball a lot, kind of probably like Michael Vick did in Philly. They're not that far apart. So I don't think that they were necessarily going to pick him up in the draft. I don't think they wanted to use the draft capital on that. I don't think they were going to use draft capital to get someone like Jimmy G, even though he eats up wins in a regular season. You can't trust the man in the postseason to save your life. Like he tried to single-handedly give the game back to Green Bay as many times as Green Bay was trying to give it to San Francisco in that playoff game. They were playing hot potato with a playoff win between the two of them. It's ridiculous. But, listen, there is a couple good things about Mitchell Trubisky with Chicago, okay, which does not have nearly the type of roster that Pittsburgh has, right? We can all agree on that? Well, not that Pittsburgh has a much better roster. Okay. So he still had 64% of his passes completed. Not quite the 70%, which is typically like your top 5, top 6 quarterbacks, but that type of person wasn't available outside of Russell Wilson, right? He had 64 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and he had an 87 rating, which is like 12th or 13th over the time span when he was in Chicago. So that's not terrible, right? And he had a winning record. He was 34-23, won 64% of the games that he started, and he went to the playoffs twice. He took Chicago to the playoffs twice, and Chicago had a lot more talented teams that should have been making the playoffs beside him. And so he did. I always felt like he overachieved, and he was kind of the scapegoat for the team not being overly successful. And I think it was more the fact that Matt Nagy was not as good of an offensive-minded coach or as good of a head coach as maybe people thought he was going to be. And so going to a system like Pittsburgh to where he's not going to be relied upon to win the game. We know that they're going to give it to bad elbow Najee Harris to run the ball. Shaq thinks he should have been Rookie of the Year. Jalen and I disagree on that. But he's still a good running back. They do have better offensive weapons than Chicago did. And so I do think that if he comes in with a good frame of mind, a good head on his shoulders, that I think that you could still see the Steelers with a winning record. That's not to say now since they add that 17th game, I don't think that necessarily means that they're going to make the playoffs. They could.
That was going to be my question.
But I think,
what are your
I think they're
chances
going to be
of
above
making
average
playoffs this year with Trubisky?
I mean, is Lamar Jackson healthy, or does he miss half the season? Were the Cincinnati Bengals a flash in the pan, or can Burrow and Jamar Chase and them, keep up what they were doing last year? Can the defense play as well in the second half for Cincinnati as they did last year? Can they start off that way this year? The Browns, I mean, we're going to talk about the Browns later, but I think the Browns are also in the mix. Like there's going to have to – it's not like Pittsburgh's going to go into this year as the front runner like they have in years past. They're going to need some help, and by help, I mean other teams in the division are going to have to underperform for them to make the playoffs, I believe, because the AFC West is stacked. There's not going to be many wild card teams outside of the AFC West and the AFC, so they're going to have to win the division, I think, to have their best shot.
Yeah, that division, like you said, if Lamar is healthy and the Bengals are 70% of what they were last year. Sorry, Shaq, you might as well hang it up now. Don't even worry about it. We'll get him next year. When I first saw this Mitch Trubisky news come through, I had a good laugh. I had a very good laugh. This was not at all who I thought they were going to target. I was thinking Garoppolo or Winston or anybody else. But Trubisky came through. It is, I mean, he's a bridge quarterback. Clearly, like, this is not their long-term answer. He is a bridge who's just holding them over for now until, they can figure out a long-term solution. What can he do in the, let's just say, 2 years that he's in Pittsburgh? I think a wild card spot is probably the ceiling for old Mitchell here. Mason Rudolph, he's not going to win this job. I just don't see that happening. Mitch is not a bad quarterback. He seems to be solid, but like Malin said, the dude throws picks like nobody's business, which I'm sure Shaq will just have it's a great time watching.
You're going to hear a lot of bitching from me throughout this next NFL season. But here's my thing about it. I'm more optimistic than you guys are. Like I said, this is probably the best case when it comes to quarterback options, when it came to our options, Winston, Garoppolo, drafting. Yes. But our best option is getting a wild card spot. Again, lucky that if the Ravens or the Bengals do fall out and one of them messes up, we get a wild card spot. That is our best options. Will we do much in playoffs? No. I'm just happy to still stay relevant to a winning record, still seeing some sort of postseason, and I will take that every single year of just staying relevant. I would hate to just get our shit blown out through our regular season and then
yeah.
Okay, couple things here. First of all, Shaq says that he's more confident in the two of us. Did I not just say they were going to have a winning record and they could compete for a wild card? Did I not just say that? And the only reason why I'm not really thinking that a wild card is viable is the fact that the AFC West has Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Broncos. All three teams are more talented than the Steelers. And the Raiders were one dumbass timeout away from probably going to the playoffs because then they allowed, to kick a field goal. And so they have a talented roster. And then you still got Tennessee, and you have the Colts in the same division. And, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Colts, but they're a good team. And the only reason why I don't necessarily think that he's only a bridge quarterback is that did anyone think that Ryan Tannehill going to the Tennessee Titans was going to be anything? Right? We thought, man, you want to talk about the definition of a bridge quarterback, but he's been able to reinvent himself on the second roster. And the Titans and the Steelers are kind of built similarly around the run game. And Ryan Tannehill did lead the Titans to the playoffs, with Derrick Henry missing over 2/3 of the season. Yeah. So I think he has an opportunity to show that he can. If Ryan Tannehill can become a franchise quarterback in the NFL at a second spot, why can't Mitchell Trubisky?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
G-Money did bring up, did the Steelers re-sign Haskins as well? Didn't they just, I believe they still have Haskins lingering around somewhere.
They have a packed quarterback room right now.
Not that he's relevant to the equation at all, because think of it, let's say somehow homeboy does fall out, Rudolph is still going to take that secondary spot before Haskins does step in. I would imagine. So it's kind of like, not to jinx us, knock on wood, but the chances of him actually touching field regular season are probably slim to none. But
the reason why I don't even think about someone like Dwayne Haskins is that his first and one of only a few wins that he's had in the NFL, his very first one, he wasn't even on the field to take the quarterback kneel to win the game in the victory formation because he was at the stands taking selfies with people. So the man can't even get into the game to win the game. I don't know. He looked lost in every game he ever played for the Washington Redskins football team, Commanders, whatever they're going to be called in 2024 and beyond. I don't know. They change their name every year. But I mean, he's still there because they signed him on a 2-year deal. Now they might release him. They might cut him, but he's still on the roster as of right now.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense. We have 3 quarterbacks in total, and if you add them together, it's about 2 quarterbacks put together. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. He said that he was more optimistic than me.
No, I'm just saying quarterback positions. We have a total of probably 2 whole quarterbacks on our roster. Because Rudolph and Haskins makes half a quarterback, and
good optimism, Shaq.
Rudolph ain't winning nobody no games. Stop it.
I love it.
Let's move off of this.
This is why we're gonna have a 24-hour episode.
All right. Next up, my team. J.C. Jackson signs with the Chargers. 5 years, $82.5 million, $40 million guaranteed. JC, it was pretty apparent that New England had no interest in re-signing him, and he took the hint and said, I'm out of here. And the Chargers sort of happily picked him up. He got a nice deal. Hey, props to him for getting paid and going to LA. Enjoy that. Wish we would have kept him. I mean, he was, second in interceptions in the NFL. He played outstanding last year, Pro Bowler. I thought he was a key piece of our secondary for sure. But, as a New England fan, you cannot get attached to literally anybody or anything. So even if it seemed like a great fit, Bill Belichick has some hair trigger idea that sleep.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, man.
I think it's great for me because Russell Wilson's a Bronco now, and what better way to introduce him into the AFC West than for the Chargers to sign the defensive back that's had the most interceptions with 24 since 2019. That's 5 more than anybody else. So why not sack him a dozen times and him off a couple times? I'm looking forward to him facing the Chargers 2 times next year. Why? Because I want a good draft pick. So I hope the Broncos are 0-17. That's my mantra. The fact that Russell Wilson's new call sign when he ends an interview, instead of "Go Hawks," is now "Let's Ride." That should tell you anything you need to know about Denver. That's some damn. So yeah, good pickup for the Chargers. Let's go.
I don't know what method New England runs off of, but sure.
Less is more.
Well,
yes.
They run off of the 6 Super Bowls in 20 years method. I don't think we can necessarily shit on them for their method.
No, they're relying on a man who wears sleeveless hoodies as some form of fashion. But the man has some sort of method to his madness, so I'll give him that. Congrats. Whatever. You found a team that wants you. Continue doing what you're doing. And 0-14, I guess, to Russ, according to Mills' method. Let's go for that.
Man's getting paid 16.
0-17, whatever.
He's getting paid $16 million a year.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. He was never going to get that in New England.
No, you don't have to give me that.
They were going to offer him $2 million and like a Lay's potato chip sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple toothpicks to go along with it.
Just wasn't going to be in the card. They were like, "You like Cheetos? We got a party pack of 36 bags. Throw in some Cheetos too."
It's like you got a season pass New England games. Like, motherfucker, what?
And Bill Belichick's like, "Oh, you want to go to the Chargers? Fine. I can get my Cheetos back. I'm happy.
Give me the Cheetos back."
So he was never going to re-sign when they didn't have the cap space for $16 million a year. Someone was going to overpay for that type of production. He was going to reset the market on that. So, but it was a good pickup for the Chargers again.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's happy. Much love to him going from fucking Boston, Massachusetts to Los Angeles and making a hefty paycheck.
And he gets to wear some of the coolest. Gets to wear some of the coolest uniforms in the NFL, man. Them powder blues.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Got Norris up here.
And listen, if you're a Chargers, like no one actually really expects anything out of you in LA. So there's zero expectations.
Nothing says better job than zero expectations.
Like if you make the playoffs, that's just like kudos, good job. We're still gonna go to the Lakers game or the Dodgers game or the Rams game. That's
right.
Too many teams in LA.
Shout out to Nori in the chat, like Shaq was just saying a minute ago. Appreciate you coming through. Next up, we have Travarius Ward signed to the Niners, 3 years, $42 million, 26.7 guaranteed. this was another big shocker of Mr. Ward leaving Kansas City to go to San Francisco. That was like, wow. I think he was a big key piece to Kansas City's defense, especially that secondary back there. But for him to pick up and go to San Francisco of all places was a huge surprise to me. What do you guys think about Mr. Ward leaving the Chiefs?
It just goes to show how much money really does play a factor into, I guess, this trade when it comes to like, yeah, I'm having great success on a team, on a very like successful team, but I see an extra couple dollars over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
leave the process. Some players prioritize championship wins and rings, and some people's like, I'm trying to cash out as much as I possibly can before my career is done. So, to each his own.
Yeah, but he gets to kind of live the best of both worlds though, because he won a championship, went to another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's going to the Jets, like he's going to the Niners,
right?
That are a contender, you know. And he is getting paid. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like what Von Miller did from leaving the Rams that just won a Super Bowl and going to the Bills, right? You're leaving to go to another contender, but once you have a Super Bowl, once you've done that, that second contract, third contract, that's all about security. How much money can I get? How much generational wealth can I get from my family moving forward for playing a game? And like I said, he's not going to a team that's outside of the realm of, you know, impossibility of making it back to a Super Bowl. But, you know, I'm not happy about this one because instead of picking off Russell Wilson with the Broncos next year, we'll be picking off Drew Lock, whoever the hell else Seattle puts under center. So that's cool. Whatever. It's fun. Like I said, there's been zero good news for me when it comes from free agency in the NFL.
Because it's hard.
No. Whole thing just puts me in a bad mood.
Melvin trying to go on a upset rant. My only thing is hard for me as a regular person to be like, yes, you're choosing better money, but no matter what team you're ending up on, you as like a good key player on the team, you're still making millions of dollars every single year. So you're still kind of set no matter what team you kind of end up on to a degree.
Okay, but but the Niners are not a bad team.
No, they're not. But I'm just saying, is like you can settle for Kansas City and still make.
I mean, I know you say that, but at the same time, it's like, all right, would you rather stay in Kansas City and make, you know, what, like $5 million a year, or would you rather go to San Francisco and make?
Well, he was going to make.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like we did different lives, so that's why the difference.
He was going to make more than $5 a year. Okay.
Yeah, whatever the figure may be.
Kansas City did not have the cap space to give him the type of salary with $26.7 million guaranteed, and the guaranteed money is all that really matters.
Yeah.
With NFL contracts, because it's not like baseball or other sports or basketball where whatever you sign, like you're going to get that money. It's all about that guaranteed money. What are they willing to put in to a signing bonus that they're going to have to defer in later years? Mm-hmm. And Kansas City was not going to guarantee that much money. So he still gets to go to a good team. I don't think the NFC West is going to be as dominant as they've been in the last few years. So I still think he's in a pretty good position. And, you know, Shaq, you're right. We do live different worlds. Okay. You know, someone that's a millionaire, they start living a millionaire lifestyle and need more millions to be able to live that millionaire lifestyle. Versus me, I'm out there buying party packs of Cheetos. So I need more money to go buy more Cheetos.
That's what I'm saying. It's like my expectations, like somebody offered me like my expectation of a lot of money is different than this man's definition of a lot of money. You offer me $2 million, I'm literally shitting my pants and excited. After this man $2 million, it's kind of like,
I'll come out there and get my shit kicked in for $2 million.
He's like, you can put me on the O-line, I get my shit blown out for 4 quarters of football, and I'll be happy about my $2 million. Him was like, $2 million can't get me out of my bed for $2 million. So,
people at home, we are aware that the Chiefs were not offering him $2 million a year. We're just making that up.
If you're taking this shit literally.
Next up, the Browns. So the Browns we're gonna bring them up again a little later on here. But the Browns released Jarvis Landry, and then they traded a 5th-round draft pick to the Cowboys for Amari Cooper. The Cowboys clearly were done with Amari Cooper after his shenanigans this last year, and were willing to trade him for that party pack of Cheetos. And Cleveland got themselves a new number 1 receiver. So what do you guys think about Landry out and Cooper in to take his place?
I thought when they landed Cooper for a 5th-round pick, I thought that was a really good trade to add to the offense. I didn't really necessarily like the trade to have him replace Jarvis Landry. I think that I would have liked to have seen the two of them together. Now, Landry's production has gone down. Okay, so 2019, he had 1,184 yards. That was his most productive year. I think he had 88 catches. But the last 2 years combined 1,300 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he's had 72 receptions, 52 receptions last year. And that's even with OBJ being gone. Okay, so the production wasn't necessarily there. But, Cooper's production also went down. In 2020, he caught 92 balls for 1,114 yards and 5 touchdowns. And last year in Dallas, he caught 68 for 865. Now, he did have 8 touchdowns, but that also led to Gallup also being hurt the second half of the year. And so he was put in as the second wide receiver because he had gotten moved down to like number 3 on the depth chart at wide receiver in Dallas. So I don't know that I necessarily love Cooper being the number 1. I would have rather have seen Landry and Cooper kind of been there 1 and 2 going forward with Cleveland. But, to each their own.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like he would have shined a lot brighter if he had somebody else to take the workload off of him a bit more. Him as a number 1, right now, it's, I don't know. It just seems a bit, for lack of a better word, unreliable as of late. So I don't see him making a bunch of noise in Cleveland. But Shaq, what do you think about this?
I mean, it still could possibly still be a big threat for the Browns. The Browns are still probably going to say the same level as they were before. I still think it comes down to who is at that quarterback position is really going to define what goes on for them, of course. If it's a wonderful Baker Mayfield, I feel like they end up in the same position they were last year. But if you change around the options, then yeah, possibly still a big threat. But like, it still comes back down to that quarterback position, and it's still a good receiver at the end of the day. So.
And a lot of people have said, well, Baker Mayfield doesn't really thrive when he has 2 people that could be a number 1, like when he had Landry and OBJ. But I think a lot of that was that he was pressing to OBJ because Odell Beckham is like, he was a superstar wide receiver, tons of talent, making a lot of money, blockbuster trade, needed to kind of validate that. And Landry was always kind of that workhorse wide receiver. He was the one going, in the middle for the passes. He reminded me a lot of, a more talented but less utilized, Julian Edelman for the Patriots. He always did all the dirty work. It was great that you want a wide receiver to be able to do. But I think that if you had Amari Cooper and Landry, you wouldn't have to necessarily try to force the ball on one of them. And you would take a little bit of pressure off of one to throw it. Like, you'd just be able to pick whichever receiver is the more open receiver. So I think they definitely would have been better with both. I don't know what Cooper also has injury problems. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And he's making a heck of a lot more money because remember, he was traded.
Right.
So that price tag for Cooper is $7.5 million more than what it was going to be for Landry next year.
Speaking of trades, moving on to the next one. Cleveland also traded Mac Wilson to my Patriots in exchange for Chase Winovich. Kind of sad to see him go off the defense. But like I said earlier, can't really get attached to much of anybody here. So, Chase was the writing was on the wall for him to probably be getting the boot soon. He was more of a edge rusher, and it just seemed like his play was kind of starting to decline as of recent, and he was less and less in the defensive rotation. But Wilson, more of in the middle of the field. I think that he'll do a good job at maybe getting back into more some pass coverage rather than just trying to get to the quarterback. I'm excited to see Wilson. I think it's a good trade. I don't have any problems with this one. So, Mac Wilson, let's go, baby.
My short statement of it just makes me worry seeing the Browns making all these types of movement and plans. Is like, what is y'all's plan? Makes me worry. I don't like seeing the Browns do well and make moves or anything sort of plan. So I need y'all to chill on top of chaos. Small statement.
I think this trade reeks of like second chances for both players.
Yeah.
Wilson was a 5th-round draft pick in 2019. Just like Winovich, his best year was his rookie year when he had 82 tackles. His play had declined the last 2 years. Same thing with Winovich. I mean, you say you're sad to see him go. I don't know that I'd be too sad to see someone go when they had 11 sacks and 56 tackles in 3 years. And again, his best year was his rookie year when he had 4.5 sacks. So both of them did not get the playing time, did not fit into the system, did not live up to what they thought that they were going to do. The only thing I will say, and the reason why I think that the Browns kind of won this trade is I think the upside is more on Winovich as far as like potential, because Mac Wilson was a 5th rounder that found himself into the starting role and maybe was overachieving in his rookie year and his play diminished. But Winovich was picked, I think, 72nd in the 2nd round. So I think he does have more potential, more upside if Cleveland kind of tap into that. So I like that Shaq's a little bit nervous about the Browns. How funny it is that Shaq went from all these years of stability to now he's nervous about the Browns and trades they make.
And getting
like
chased
not
with
well,
it.
and I say Shaq, I don't just mean Shaq. I just mean like Pittsburgh fans in general.
Yeah.
Like there's just uncertainty and there's instability a little bit because of the quarterback position not being the same anymore. They've gotten rid of a lot of other players and they got a lot of other good players back, but it's like the Steelers, like as a fan, like so much has changed over the last few years. Where now you're worried about moves that the Browns are making.
See, if you just look back at just the past 2 years alone, there's just been such a big change in 2 years of just our division. It's kind of like it went from, all right, we're going to be number 1, who's battling for that 2nd spot,
Right.
to now we're struggling to even maintain that 3rd spot in
Right.
our own division. So it's kind of like time does change. Especially getting rid of what was our stability in our team to retiring. So now we're kind of like just struggling that Trubisky is now going to be taking over from a Hall of Fame quarterback. So here we're at with.
Yeah, they went through 2 decades of battling out with Baltimore, right? Baltimore was always the other team that was good. Every now and then the Bengals were going to make the playoffs, but no one cared because they were going to lose. Because Marvin Lewis was their coach, and they had the Amish rifle. Or the Steelers were breaking the knee of Carson Palmer in the playoffs. Let's not forget about that back in 2005. But like no one cared about the Browns. Now all of a sudden everyone's like, man, the Browns, they could sneak up on people again. So weird division. Weird division.
Last but not least, the Cardinals re-signed James Conner. 3 years, $21 million. This was a big shocker. Like, out of all these signings that we just mentioned, this one was up there for me. And 13.5 of that is guaranteed. Shaq, what do you think about your former running back getting 3 more years added on?
I just felt this man's been bouncing around just trying to find a spot where he kind of fits in. So I don't really know how I feel about him as a running back quite yet. We'll see where it falls into place. I don't know. I just don't have much confidence in him as a running back. So here we are, though.
Malin?
I love this trade. Or not trade, signing. I love this signing. It's a great signing. They should hand out all the money to people like James Conner over there in Arizona. Now, first of all, I don't like that I have to feel bad disparaging someone like James Conner, because he did beat cancer. Okay. Unfortunately, that's really the only thing he ever beat in his life. So this man just got paid, okay, $21 million. And like you said, $13.5 million guaranteed for a season where he played in 15 games, only racked up 752 yards.
Yeah.
But he scored 15 touchdowns. The reason why he scored 15 touchdowns is because they were always getting into the goal line.
Yep.
And they were either like on the 1 or 2 yard line, just hand it to him or just like toss a little screen to him. Like he wasn't earning all 15 of those touchdowns. Like that wasn't all just like talent. Like he wasn't breaking a ton of tackles. He wasn't making electrifying plays to get those 15 touchdowns. That was like workhorse things that most running backs could do. Okay. And the kicker is, well, they just guaranteed $13.5 million for a guy that only started 6 games last year. He played in 15, started 6. He didn't even start in half the games he played in last year. Somebody else was the starter. And now they're giving him 3 years for $21 million. I love this signing. I think the GM should stay in Arizona. Give him a lifetime contract. Give him a lifetime contract. Next thing I want them to do, I want them to sign Kyler Murray for $60 million next year. Do it. Give Cliff Kingsbury a lifetime supply of hairspray. You're set out of Arizona for like the next decade. I love it. I think it's a great move. They should keep doing it. NFC West, baby. I love it.
All right. No need for Malin to keep patronizing the Cardinals. We will get to a break here. And when we come back, we have our March Madness brackets. Going to be sharing those. And then we're going to hit what's up with that for this week. And then the ride or die in 25.
Jalen, really quick.
Yep.
Let Chandler Jones walk. Sign James Conner for $21 million. GM of the year. GM of the year. All right, let's go to break.
We'll see you guys in 7.5 minutes.
With the fears in my head, can't get it out of my mind. I hear what never was said. I feel the unknown with the fears in my head. They attach, they latch. I got a brand new batch. They don't lack, that's facts. No slack. Pimp tight, attached from the inside. They'll fuck up any kind of night. They'll fuck up any kind of vibe. Playing tricks with your mind. I cannot get it over.
I will show. How about this? Here's my bet. I will show up to the bar with the Juju jersey. If we win, I will give it to you, and you have to wear the Juju jersey on the show next Wednesday if the Steelers win.
But Shaq cannot take the jersey off at any point during the game.
That's fair. fair
On
enough.
the whole game.
They bring 5. Smith sideline. It's caught by Miller, who lost the football, and it's recovered by Sweet. Inbounds with the clock running and no timeouts, and they scramble to kill it. Down to 3 and 2. They line up with 1.
Yeah, pretty freaking plain.
I'm chucking this shit into Del Mabry. By the way,
How can you not see that there is 1 second on the clock? This is emotional. Boy, you better fight the shit out of this, Gino. 1 second out of this shit. Oh, what? No. What do you mean, wide left? That was... No, he thought we were friends. I can't fold that shit up. We ain't done yet. Come on. Get off the bar.
I respect your attitude here.
We'll be quiet.
No, it's great. You're laughing and having a good time.
He's the one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
Did you know AFR is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Click the first link in the description below to listen to the most recent episode of the show.
8 fans fell out of the stands as Jalen Hurts is walking into the tunnel. I will just preface this by saying all those people were just fine, no serious injuries. They were all right, but goddamn, that was funny to watch.
Fortunately, knowing how the Eagles fans are built, the last thing you should do is lean their body weight against anything.
First of all, you got to be a real diehard Eagles fan to be reaching out that far to get a high five from Jalen Hurts. Like I said, is only averaging 188 yards passing a game. Okay, I'm just saying.
Live chat here, TW1. I swear, y'all come out of fucking potholes like cockroaches. Steady Eagles haters. We aren't going to win the Super Bowl, but we might win the wild card.
What does
maybe.
What does that matter? What does that matter?
TW1, 50% of teams have a shot at winning the wild card. Maybe.
I swear to God, these Eagles fans just really be riding whatever wave they can catch. They're going to catch a rip off a puddle that would ride it.
I love how we're not even talking about the Eagles right now.
Yes,
Fuck you even find this, bro.
He's like, we're talking about the other team in Pennsylvania, people.
First question. Who is currently leading the NFL in reception yards?
I'm going with Arizona.
I'm a player. Sorry, player.
Larry. I'm going with Larry.
Larry who?
Fitzgerald.
Oh my God. No.
Currently.
He's not still in the Arizona Cardinals? Where's he at?
Cooper.
No.
Just drink.
Which current quarterback that is actively playing has thrown the most interceptions so far this season?
Heineke.
No. Okay, no. It's Mahomes and Zach Wilson. Dang it.
Really?
Yes.
Drink. You deserve that L. Do it.
Your head coach, Ron Rivera, he won a Super Bowl in the 80s as a part of what team?
Fuck it, Michigan.
No.
Wait.
NFL.
NFL. Oh. Oakland Raiders.
That was a good guess.
That's good. It was Washington, wasn't it?
It was the Bears, actually.
Oh, the Bears. Okay.
Which current running back, has the most yards at the first initial contact?
Jesus.
45 seconds. What was that? You were wiping your forehead. Don't worry about it.
What they got to do with me and my
Henry.
Does me wiping my forehead change time?
It does, because that's like a time zone.
Who was our quarterback at Washington or Redskins? He was the first black quarterback on the Washington football team. Why are you asking me this? Oh my God. Jason Campbell.
No.
Hell no.
I want to see the first black quarterback.
Nigga, he's black, isn't he?
He was the first black quarterback on Washington football.
Or Doug Williams is just as black.
Ryan knows he needs some water.
If Ryan makes you do the entirety of the show, give him a medal honor for it.
I mean, listen, hey, he thought that Fitzgerald was still playing, so.
Not just still playing, but had the most.
At an all-pro level.
Remember to follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AFR Sports. That's it, AFR Sports. Now back to the show with your hosts Jalen, Shaquille, and Malin.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet for the second half of this show. Hope you guys had a wonderful break. Hope you used the bathroom, got a refill, stocked up on whatever snack you have. Let us know what you guys do on your breaks when we go take a piss.
Maybe repented for things you might or may not have said. Sure.
Father God, forgive me my associations, but
my associations.
Wow. Disassociating himself with me. All right, Shaq. I haven't even made one forehead joke so far, and you're coming at me.
Just deathly ill.
No, I already pray for my own sins. I got to pay for my associations. So.
Boys, we are going to share our March Madness brackets for the first time on this Conversation show. So we all filled out a bracket for this year's NCAA tournament. And we're not going to hit every single school on our bracket, but if you guys want to just kind of mention any more notable upsets that you may have, of course, who you have making like the Final Four and then winning the whole thing, but anything that you feel is noteworthy.
I'll go ahead and go first because Shaq doesn't have any upsets because he picked all 4 number ones to make it to the Final Four. So there's 0 upsets for Shaq on his bracket. No, we're not. It's about to be real good. So anyway, we're talking about the brackets. The first thing.
Let's take a shot.
Yes, let's take shots before we get into this. Beautiful.
Shaq
Got so distracted by his sins and roasting me that I couldn't take a shot.
I was keeping Shaq away from his Macallan 18. My apologies. So, before we get into the brackets, I just want to give people a little backstage look at our production. Okay, so earlier today, Jalen decided to ask us. He needed pictures of our brackets, and I sent my bracket like I'm from the 21st century, and then Shaq sent a picture of his bracket like it was taken from his forehead because it looked like it's from the surface of the damn moon. It was the craziest damn picture I've ever seen in my life. You couldn't read a single thing on the bracket. We were like to the point to where Jalen was like, you know what, you might just want to print out a piece of paper and bring it back because that looks a little bit rough. So apparently the hospital that Shaq works at needs to update their computers and their technology, even though those are there to save lives. But apparently they're using NASA computers from the 1960s. So hopefully they can get a bigger budget. Now, moving on to March Madness. So, again, Shaq doesn't have any surprise picks. They're all number ones. Everyone that's great is going to be great. No upsets. On mine, I did have Gonzaga, Arizona. I did pick Kentucky that was a number 2. I did. They're going to be a Baylor in that one. And on the other one, I'm not sold on Kansas. I knew that they were going to be like the number one that I wasn't going to pick. And I almost went with Wisconsin going out of that bracket. But LSU's been playing pretty good. I think that they're in a good spot being number 6. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I mainly got LSU going to the Final Four because my mom is a big LSU fan. And I love my mama, and I try to make my mama happy. And she just had eye surgery today, so I was like, you know what? LSU, national championship. Let's go. If Coach O can win a national championship in football, then LSU can make it to the Final Four. But I do have Arizona winning the whole thing because I don't trust Gonzaga. to actually make the championship game. Every year that I actually think they're going to win it, they don't, just like last year to Baylor. Terrible. So I think they're really good at getting to the tournament and Final Fours now, but they can't seem to win like the biggest of the biggest games. They always seem to fall down somewhere. So I'm going Arizona.
Malin, I am with you. I have Arizona winning this whole damn thing. Yeah, I also have Zaga right there to play against them in the finals. But a couple, like I have Wisconsin, Kentucky, Gonzaga, Arizona in the Final Four here. Any notable upsets on my list? The one that, of course, sticks out to me in the first round of things, I have Alabama being upset by what is going to be Rutgers. I'm convinced Rutgers will make this dance. Shout out to Piscataway, New Jersey, right there. They will upset Alabama, roll tide on that, and then they'll get bounced right up out of there by probably Texas Tech. So there's that, but they will make their small claim to fame in that first round. Any other upsets here? I'm trying to see real quick if I have anything else that's a bit strange.
I will say that I always root for Loyola so big because I love being able to talk about Sister Jean. I think she has to be like 108 by now. I think she was 101 when they started like making it to the Sweet 16. I felt like that was 12 years ago.
What school is
but
this?
God, Loyola. You heard
Loyola.
about Sister Jean? The nun that goes courtside like every single game and gives a pep talk, and she had been doing high five since COVID because she's damn near a century or over a century. But no, she's always a great story, and I love the interviews they do with her. They are fantastic. So I always root for them, but I don't think that they're necessarily going to get to the Sweet 16 this year because if anything, this college basketball season has just been crazy. There's a lot of really good teams this year, and that's why they kept flip-flopping number one like all year. So you could go through the 1 through 5 seed, and there's not that much disparity like there used to be, like all really good teams. So I think it's going to be a lot harder to see a lot of upsets this year than maybe we have in the past. And I would also just like to mention, shout out to Dick Vitale, beating cancer-free. That man's living large and in charge.
Dickie V.
Love it.
Round of applause, folks.
I applaud you,
Yes.
Dylan, try to make up for what you did in the first
man,
half
hey,
of the
listen,
show.
man. Hey,
He beat
Shaq,
that
I don't
fair
wanna
and
hear it.
square.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Go ahead and listen. Go back to the moon. But Dick Vitale, he is synonymous with college basketball, and I love the fact that he's healthy enough to be calling games and being pregame during March Madness. He deserves every moment. He is an icon of college basketball, so I'm
Yes.
glad that he's still with us.
If Dickie V is not calling games in March, what are we doing here, folks? What are we talking about? What's going on here? So, shout out Dickie V. Shaq, let's get to yours here. Mike Malin said,
All number ones.
Malin's and I were
This is the-
screenshots. Shaq's is a photo. It was last second, folks, but you can still clearly listen. This is still better than what the original 1801 fax from the moon was. But
I would just like to say that I'm surprised that Shaq is so bad on the Ride or Die in 5 because I can clearly look into the future because he took this picture of the bracket in 1969 on Apollo 11. But here it is, not in living color or anything. But no upsets here. No upsets.
Shaq playing it very, very safe by the book here. Shaq, your thoughts?
Yeah, very safe. The only difference is I didn't pick Arizona. I picked the other, of course, half of the segment to win this all. And I can't agree with y'all on everything. I always gotta be the yin to your yang. So I'm hoping that they win this one. Because guess what? I'll be the one man standing at the end of this if they do. Even though y'all spent half my session roasting the hell out of me, so but it's all right.
And when Baylor wins this whole thing,
more your
we're all wrong.
technology.
Then there we go.
Yeah, that'll suck.
Oh, even
Okay,
better.
so I do have a question though. I do have a question. In all seriousness, so I did see that you picked Gonzaga. So what do you think is different this year than like the last 4 years when they've gone in there as a number one seed and they haven't been able to get it done? Like last year, they were undefeated going into the tournament, and they decided to lay a stinker and lose 74-55 to Baylor. So what's going to be the change? Because I wanted to pick Gonzaga because I don't necessarily like Arizona because I'm a Pac-12 fan and I like my Washington Huskies. So what made you want to pick Gonzaga like over Arizona this year?
The show exists and I picked them. Feel it on my bone this year. This year, every dog has his day.
Okay, so we were looking for some good insight there, but I apologize. People had technical difficulties with Shaq from the Moon. His forehead lost radio communication, and so therefore we didn't get a good answer. So let's go ahead and move on.
In other news here, G Money says his final four: Zaga, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Miami, with the final being Zaga and Tennessee, and Zaga winning it all.
Okay, I like that though because I had Tennessee going all the way to the Elite Eight. And they did just win the SEC, and they've been playing really good ball. I couldn't necessarily see them beating Villanova in my bracket, but I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee does make it to the Final Four. I'm not sure that Tennessee would necessarily beat Arizona. Arizona would have to go the whole way. But I do think that Tennessee is a really strong pick there.
I would just like to say your face, Malin, as I said that, is like watching his son get his shit kicked in by somebody on the playground. It's just pure disappointment.
Well, it was like asking someone, like, hey, what do you think about your brand new baby boy? And they're like, well, it's a boy. Like, that was pretty much the answer.
I don't know what kind of answer you expect from me. When have I ever given y'all some sort of in-depth answer or some sort of secrets on anything at all?
This man said every dog has its day, like it's the Cleveland Browns going to the playoffs. This is Gonzaga. They've been to the Final Four like 6 times in the last 10 years, and they just went to the championship game last year. But you're over here saying every dog has its day.
I feel it in my bones.
I think my son could come home. My third grader could come home with all F's on his report card, and I'd still be more disappointed in the answer that Shaq would give me. That is just Jesus.
Like I said, this show is great entertainment, great personality on this show.
It's got a lot of personality.
Unless you have cancer, then the show's
okay. DKB is a champ. Moving on to the next segment of the show, and that is What's Up With That, my new favorite segment on this show. This is the portion of the show where we each give what is currently grinding our gears in the world of sports. So, Shaq, I'm going to let you go first because you had something that you were very adamant on Malin and I not picking.
I just want to say, what's grinding my gears about Bucks fans being the most fair weather fans known to mankind. I hate seeing Bucks fans hating their team and then liking their team the week after. I literally had a coworker says, "Man, I can't wait to sell my tickets, get rid of my season tickets to the Bucks." And literally the week after saying, "Man, I can't wait to go to these games for the Bucks." Once I heard Tom Brady was coming back, it's like, y'all the most fair weather ass motherfuckers known to mankind. You were just talking about selling your tickets a week before. Hear Tom Brady, and you cannot wait to go to the stadium to go sit down with the other musty ass Bucks fans and watch this game. I cannot. You either like your team or you don't. You have the annual pass. Season pass. Please just go to these games and watch and stop being a hypocrite and liking this team only because Tom Brady's coming back. Are you or are you not a fan of the Bucks?
Amen.
Preach. Preacher.
Hallelujah. Yeah, the most fair
Hey,
weather
man.
Tampa Bay ass fans on mankind for no reason, and I hate it. I hate hearing it.
Hey, listen. With that right there, I take back like 68% of the forehead jokes that I've ever made against you. That was phenomenal because I couldn't agree more. These fans down here, because we all live in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, just talking about the Bucks right now, they had a 68% drop off from people not renewing their season tickets, and all of a sudden it went up 38% from that within 3 days with people renewing their season tickets. And I had coworkers like, "Hey man, I'll take you to a game next year," and yada yada. And he was like, "Man, that's going to cost you some money to go with me." I'm like, "Man, shut up! You don't even like your team. You guys are ridiculous." They're in Tampa, and the best team they have is a hockey team. Like, where the fuck is there an ice in Florida? Yet the best team they have is hockey. They have 3,000 people that go to a baseball game that's been a perennial playoff contender for the last 12 years and made it to a World Series. They got a football team. They got a football team that's won 2 championships in 20 years, and you never hear from them except for the year that they win the championship or they have Tom Brady the year after that. So I don't want to hear it. Like, they act like they haven't had the likes of Jeff Garcia, Josh Freeman, Chris Sims. They've had kickers, Martin Gramatica, that tore his ACL jumping up and down because he kicked a 37-yard field goal and made it. Like that was some sort of fucking milestone. So I don't want to hear from these people. They're bandwagon fans. The fact that I moved down here in 2003, they had won 1 Super Bowl, 2 Arena League championships, and their soccer team, when the MLS wasn't even around, had won some stupid ass thing, and they were calling themselves the City of Champions. And then they win a couple of Stanley Cups, 1 Super Bowl, and they're Champa Bay. Really? Like Champa?
Y'all can't even defeat the war on
Oh my
drugs,
God.
and y'all trying to sit here cut off
These people, I don't like. The only credit I give them as being sports fans is that they keep supporting the Lightning, even though the only time they've ever seen ice in their life is when they go to the game. But if the Lightning hadn't been good for the last decade, you wouldn't see all this Lightning stuff. You wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a thing, because the moment you become mediocre, they're like, "I'm gone.
Yeah,
I don't care." And it's not like there's that much stuff to do in Tampa like it is in LA. Like, I mean, so I don't know. Fair weather. It's listen. You can't even find a parking spot. They got like, they have Armature Works and Ybor has stuff that could do for like 12,000 people, and they have 5 parking spaces between both places. So I don't want to get it. It's like $50 an hour to park there. Yeah, you better take the bus that doesn't even go there, because they don't want poor people going there. But anyway, so I don't even know what I was saying. Now I'm talking about people. I'm
public transportation.
I'm going to hell. So the Bucks, before they signed Tom Brady, had an average attendance of 40% in their stadiums before Tom Brady. Now all of a sudden they're filling out stadiums with Tom Brady. So it's ridiculous. I hate these fans. That is a great "what's up with that," Shaq. You know what? In fact, I take back 75% of the forehead jokes. I'm upping it another 7%. That's a great one.
Man, I'll give you another 7% on the spot.
Yeah. I'm not taking back the moon one, though, with that picture, because that was a good one. That one was good. I'm keeping that one on record.
That was a very good "what's up with that," because again, we all live here. We've seen it in the last couple weeks of the transition from everybody's like, "Oh well, hanging their heads, oh well, Eeyore type beat," to the signs are back up. The restaurants plastered their letterboards up with "We're back, baby." The flags are back up. Here we go again.
Exactly.
Hold on.
Like,
hypocrites.
All these people stopped being Bucks fans, and they were just going to be fans of the Hall of Fame, because that's where Brady was going to go next. They're like, "Oh, Hall of Fame. We're going to go to Canton and watch a high school football game." That's what they're going to be a fan of next. It's stupid. And Bruce Arians, really, Like, you really think he's excited that Tom Brady's back? He's probably pissed off right now. They don't even get along. Like, how do you not get along with someone that won you a Super Bowl? Like, you don't even have to do anything. It's like a driver in a Tesla. Just let it drive you to your fiery death when it crashes into something. Because that's what your career is going to be after Tom Brady anyways. It's going to suck.
He was excited to have his team back under his control again.
Man's got his meal ticket back, and he's pissed off about it. It's ridiculous.
Well, that was Shaq's what's up with that. My what's up with that was Baker Mayfield pouring his heart out on social media, taking the, I guess you would say, the high road here, and thanking the fans of Cleveland for the first time in his career taking the high road here. Yeah, him not being petty and, pouty like he normally is, and him just basically saying, hey, thanks, finally being humble. Thank you for the great ride the city has given me and my family, and appreciate everything that, you've done for me. And, it's been great here. So whatever happens from this point forward, it is what it is type thing. Deshaun Watson met with the Browns either, I think, yesterday or today. And it's seeming like the Browns are one of his possible destinations out of the 4 teams. What the hell is up with Baker Mayfield's just admitting defeat here and just accepting his doom of him no longer being a Cleveland Brown? I think that's just a little, even for Baker Mayfield, just a little sus of him just laying down.
Listen, you say he's taking the high road. The man's like 5'9". He doesn't have a high road. Everything's low. The man barely gets oxygen. He's saying goodbye to a city before he's even gone. Like,
horrible.
That's not the high road. That's like a pity party. Like, it's like no trade has happened. He's not released. He's not being shopped. He was a walk-on to 2 of the schools that he went to before he won a Heisman to Oklahoma. It doesn't matter if you're the first-round pick or not. He has not played up to that first-round pick that he was. Is anyone putting Baker Mayfield on the same level as someone like Patrick Mahomes?
Nope.
Anyone putting him on the same level as someone like Justin Herbert?
Nope.
Josh Allen?
Nope.
Nope. None of them, right? Lamar Jackson?
Nope.
No. Not Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is sitting back there sulking with a quarterback. Kyler Murray's back there sulking with a binky in his mouth, putting the picture of the Cardinals back on the social media because he realized that was a dumbass move. And you got Baker Mayfield out here on social media saying goodbye to everybody before he's even gone. What are we doing? Like, how thin-skinned and soft-hearted are people to where they can't take criticism when it's actually deserved? Like, who in their right mind outside of Baker Mayfield thinks that the Browns would not have a significant upgrade if they got Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield? Like, now, they may have flown the entire team down to Houston to do their pitch. They probably flew all 53-man roster, training staff, the lady pouring coffee in the cafeteria, the man cleaning the bathrooms may have had to pitch because they want to get rid of Baker Mayfield that bad. Like, they're probably like, please, man, like, Baker doesn't even flush when he uses the toilet. If you come in here, it's going to be great. So they probably flew the entire team down there. They probably had to take 2 planes to do that meeting. But still, to do that before, like, I mean, come on, man. Like, don't you have a best friend that you can call and complain to? You got to go straight to social media. I mean, my God. I
mean, I call it humble, but this was clearly him, like, trying to be the sympathetic character. Like, woe is me. Look at what they're doing to me. They're trying to replace me with one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Oh, don't you just hate it, guys? Come on, I'm your guy. Side note: Baker. G Money says Baker is 6'1". That just goes to show you what Oklahoma quarterbacks are like in the pros.
I was just my only 2 cents.
So
to
he's
that
taller
is-
than Russell Wilson. Oh damn! You guys want to know what I just thought about before Chat Talks? Russell Wilson, like how is Russell Wilson going to get oxygen in Denver, Colorado? Like how is he?
All I
gonna
would like to
breathe?
say is my feelings are hurt because I'm 5'8", so the disrespect I feel on my name.
Okay, Shaq, there ain't no damn way in hell with that head of yours that you're 5'8". There ain't no way in hell that you're 5'8". You gotta have some little ass premature looking legs to be 5'8" with that goddamn head. Ain't no way. Man, stop it. Just stop it. But no, so back to Baker Mayfield.
Shaq, that's the last thing you should have admitted on this show.
Right. That man's like, I'm 5'8". My forehead's a foot tall, so without that, I'm 4'8". I'll buy you a dinner at Sizzlers, though. Jesus Lord. I just lost Shaq. Okay. Shaq's gone. Anyways, that's the good of what's up with that though, because Baker Mayfield, man, like that's just, I don't know, it's whiny, right? Isn't that whiny, Jalen? That's not being humble.
Yeah,
Like
it was him trying to be humble, but in reality, it's like, bro, we see what you're trying to do here.
It's like he's trying to put something out there preemptive for the rest of the league, like, hey, I give it my all every single day. I play out there with the torn labrum and all this, and I'll do all this for you. But it's just like, man, like, wait your turn. Let them do something before you do that. Like, I don't know. It's just whining. Ridiculous. I'm sorry, Shaq. Not really. It was funny, but
G Money said the head is too weight.
I feel bad for his mom because she had to birth the baby. I mean, that's
champ, absolute champion, right?
You come at me one time, Shaq, when I don't say a single forehead joke in the first half, and see what happens.
I feel this show is just built off of targeting me. Whatever, anytime you have any gray area and talking, it's like Shaq's forehead.
Okay, you did that to yourself. 5'8", I don't believe that. You're not no 5'8". I know 5'8" about you. I know.
That is a different discussion for a different day.
Maybe if you put a measurement around your head, that's 5 feet 8 inches. I don't know, but not the length of your body. I love you so much, Shaq.
It just comes to the fact that no matter what you put in the comments, folks, that we don't give a damn because we so hard at each other. It doesn't matter what the comment section has to say.
So, out of just last thing on the Baker Deshaun thing here, out of the 4 teams that he's rumored to sign with, the Browns, and then literally every team in the NFC South other than Tampa, which team do you think Deshaun ends up on?
The Browns.
Shaq going straight up with Cleveland. Okay.
Who do you think, Jalen? It's not tough.
I'm going to go with Nori on this one. I think he signs with the Carolina Panthers and brings Nori a giant smile. They keep Christian McCaffrey. They don't have to give up on the deal, but they give them their next 13 first-round draft picks until 2035.
And McCaffrey plays 3 games next season.
To me, it's a toss-up between New Orleans and Carolina.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to go Carolina for 2 reasons. One, I think that what New Orleans would have to do to restructure his contract is a lot. They're already in cap hell. What are they going to do with a quarterback making over $40 million next 3 years? And then you got to try to re-sign him, right? I think Carolina's going to make the best offer.
Yeah.
I think they're the worst of the teams, but they do have a very wide open offense. And if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, you got a great pass catcher out of the backfield. And I do think that Carolina would hang on to him more so than New Orleans is going to hang on to Alvin Kamara going forward, because Alvin Kamara is a little bit older, but both of them are injury prone. I just see him wanting to go to the NFC only because there's so much quarterback talent in the AFC that I think that the path to the Super Bowl in the AFC is going to be so hard. And that's why it kind of surprised me that Russell Wilson landed on Denver when he did, even though apparently he had like 14 teams that he was willing to go to, but he landed on somebody in the AFC just because of all that quarterback talent in the AFC is just wild to me. So I do see him going to the NFC, and I think Carolina and New Orleans are the two ones. I like how even when I try to be serious, I say shit that cracks you guys up.
It's
I'm
not even that. ESPN is showing Russell Westbrook air ball.
Oh my god!
The Lakers just got blown out by the T-Wolves, and they're showing Russell Westbrook air ball and shit. So,
oh my god!
I heard every last word you said, Malin. Oh my god!
And then showing the post-game interview wearing his grandma's knitted sweater, trying to explain to you why he's bad.
Well, this goes perfectly into my what's up with that.
There you go.
Because a couple days ago, LeBron James spent an entire game throwing a temper tantrum on the court, being mad about how the Lakers were playing, slamming balls, throwing balls at the other team, acting frustrated. I mean, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen him that mad since he was playing in the finals and he was with the Cavs. And God, I forget what that guy's name was. Who the heck was number 5 on the Cavs? They didn't know the time of possession of the shot clock. I forget his name.
Oh,
but anyways,
JR.
he's irrelevant.
JR.
Yeah, JR. Yes, JR. I mean, I haven't seen LeBron that mad since he was doing this, like he was directing traffic. He was trying to tell J.R. Smith that, hey, listen, man, like man, what the hell? But he was literally just doing temper tantrum like the whole game. But the funny thing is he's mad about how the whole team is playing, yet he's the one that built the team.
Yeah.
He's the one that was like, you know what? We should turn the Lakers into an old folks home. Let's do it. It'll be fun. We all get bedpans, and we get some pudding at night. It's gonna be great. But he's over there being mad about how they're performing. I'm like, dude, this entire roster is who you wanted. Like, you didn't see this coming. For such a smart man, how could he be that dumb and wanting these people? So for him throwing that temper tantrum was just kind of funny to me. I was like, dude, like, chill out. You're still gonna get the record. You're gonna have the most points scored. It is what it is. Like, but you're probably not going to win a chip. It's fine.
My thing is, that's like kind of like you watching your people at work mess up every single order for the whole entire shift, and just continue to watch them mess up orders and be like, I had y'all motherfuckers, and y'all still can't get these shit right. I trained y'all, and y'all still can't get these goddamn orders right. And I'm very heated and upset. And then just look. I understand LeBron's frustration at this point in the season. Like, yo, all of us are very talented individuals. Why the hell can't we win a basketball game? Why are we getting blown out by 30 points?
Russ, can you hit
I don't understand his frustration at all, because Unibrow Davis has been hurt every single year of his damn career. So he's not going to stay healthy. Also, Westbrook, I mean, like Jalen sent something in our chat earlier. Like, that man could be building homes for the needy with the amount of bricks that he's throwing up every single damn game. I mean, you got Carmelo Anthony wishes that he was still on the Blazers. That's how bad the Lakers are. That Carmelo Anthony was like, you know what? I still like be wearing the black and red right now. He had to have seen it coming. The writing was on the wall with these people. Dwight Howard, I mean, the man can grow his braids out as much as he wants to, but he's still Dwight Howard. Like, he's not fooling anybody.
So why is
He's
it
like trying to change his identity?
I could have paused a minute right there. Why is it that y'all were so upset at me a couple weeks ago on Dwight Howard? I'm saying this man was god awful. Then a couple weeks now, all of a sudden he's god awful.
Malin
opinion
was just commenting on this current year of Dwight Howard. That's all he was saying.
No, I thought that Dwight Howard was good in the bubble. Dwight Howard was good in Orlando.
A lot of people are good in the bubble. It's a fucking bubble.
Like I don't know if Dwight Howard saw you on the sidewalk and tripped you at some point and laughed at you. I don't know what happened between you two, but you seem to hate his entire career.
Yes.
I'm saying this year he's god awful. And you want to know who was not good in the bubble? Most of the other teams, including your favorite team that lost in the finals, were not very good in the
I'm sorry.
bubble.
Where does my team fall this season?
What?
Where does my team fall this season?
Oh, I don't know. Did they not just lose to Minnesota the other night?
Not the point. I'm just saying I get a lot of hate for no reason, and other people can say the same facts, and all of a sudden it's okay opinion and facts to have that thing. Why is that like a thing?
No,
all because I got a big ass forehead. All of a sudden, my opinion is disqualified.
Okay, first of all, you've always had the forehead. This is new, and you're talking about Dwight Howard's entire career.
Right.
I'm talking about right now.
I'm saying Dwight Howard's career is average. He has an average career right
now.
The man's a Hall of Famer.
Why?
The man is a Hall of Famer.
At best.
All right. At best?
Yeah.
At best,
what else is there?
All I'm saying is that Dwight Howard, look, I generally do not think, in my opinion, Hall of Famer, but like, whatever. I would not put Dwight Howard as Hall of Famer, but it's okay. And man has...
Jesus Christ.
Look.
He was Defensive Player of the Year 3 years in a row.
Led the Orlando.
He led the Orlando Magic to the NBA Finals where they had no business being there. No business being there.
They beat out LeBron James to get there, by the way. Let's add that in.
He was very bad and very thin-skinned when he played for LA the first time around. That's one of the few times where I'm like, Dwight Howard, I'm not going to say someone his size is a little bitch, but he played like very small. Like he succumbed to the pressure. Now, I will say this, that if they'd have gotten Chris Paul instead of Steve Nash, that team with Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, and Chris Paul probably wins the championship.
Yes, and the only reason he has a ring is not because of him. I just want to tell you all that. The reason he has a ring is because of all the other keepers. He was a background character, and the reason why he has a fucking ring. Jeremy Lin has a ring too, and do we qualify that as a good reason? It's like, it's all
Robert Horry has 6 rings, being a backup player to everybody else that was famous. You're not shitting on his entire career. I mean, you just seem to not like. I'm just saying, this year, right now, Dwight Howard is not playing well. He's older.
He hasn't played well in a couple of years. Let's go back to that.
Well, a couple of years ago, he won a finals. So he actually played pretty good in the finals.
All right, fuck Dwight Howard. Let's move on before I start getting.
I know. Listen, I like how I'm doing the whole thing about LeBron James and the temper tantrum, and Shaq zeroes in with that 1969 technology on the one thing I said about Dwight Howard. Like, I just think it's funny that LeBron James is throwing temper tantrums when he's the one that built the team.
Shout out to Pikachu Tube in the chat. He says he disagrees. He thinks that the Saints will get Deshaun Watson. G Money says that Shaq, your hate for Dwight Howard is crazy. Did he steal your lunch or something in school?
Okay, first of all, Pikachu 2, that's a cool name. So shout out to that.
I
guy.
rep
That's
Pikachu
really good.
too.
I like that. I don't like. What else is Shaq looking at? Does he want you to read or see something else? He keeps putting his hand out there like he's doing a presidential speech.
Not reading, but seeing something for sure. Shaq is a
Oh.
fan of one of ESPN's sideline reporters. In America, you can use your imagination on that one, but
Focus, man. Doing a show here.
Definitely a show going on.
I'd also like to mention that Kanye is at this Golden State Boston game right now, and he just dapped up Jaylen Brown during a timeout with one of his kids. I'm not sure which one
Probably
it was,
in between tweeting threats to Kim Kardashian.
Right.
I've been busy doing that on the sideline as well. That man's unstable as hell.
Jaylen Brown, make sure you wash your hands, say your prayers, and hopefully your career maintains.
Man, about to get more in the vid.
Anything else you want to hit up with? What's up with that, or are we going into our ride or die?
No, I'm good.
We hit a lot. We hit an awful lot in that. What's up with that? All right. Going into our ride or die in 25. This is where we give our betting predictions for the next week. So last week, just to recap real quick, I was 3-2 leading the charge. Both Shaq and Malin were both 2-3.
Yeah.
The overall records, Malin is of course still ahead. He is plus 14, 47 and 33. I am 64 and 57 plus 7, and Shaq is 59 and 62 minus 3 on that one.
And I gotta tell you, I am trying to give away the lead though with these NBA picks. Good lord.
Yeah.
These last few weeks, I'm like, why am I even going to Vegas in a few weeks? This is terrible.
Don't pick NBA games. Hopefully,
I'm
baseball is back up and running by then.
No, I'm going to take the bet sheet for NBA games and put it in the toilet and pee on it because that's how much I think about NBA games right now. They're pissing me off.
So, first game we have tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, Bulls at Suns. I'll go first on this one. I wanted to take the Bulls by all means, but the Suns aren't as inconsistent as I thought they are at home. They're still, for the most part, holding down their home court advantage, and I think they will continue to do that against the Bulls. I think it'll be a close game, and the Suns will end up winning this one. So give me the Suns. Shaq.
Despite Jones gonna hate himself for this, but I also picked the Suns to win this game. I still find them to be a very powerhouse of a team, and I will not hate on them, so I'm going to say the Suns win this.
All right. Malin?
Listen, I can't even be mad when Shaq makes a pick right now in the NBA because I've been doing god awful. So I'm beside myself with these picks. It's ridiculous. But anyways, one team has lost 6 out of 8, and one team has won 6 out of 8. And I'm going to go with the one that's won 6 out of 8. I'm going to go with Phoenix on this one. I mean, and the Bulls just lost to the Sacramento Kings. That's right. Sacramento still has a basketball team, everybody. And they lost 112 to 103 and shot 40% from the field and 29% from 3. DeRozan has gone from an MVP pick to, I don't know, like just better than Dwight Howard. So it's just it's not been good for the Bulls since like the beginning of February. They have not been playing well. And Phoenix is doing a hell of a lot better than I thought they were going to do without Chris Paul.
Yeah,
a hell
Jesus.
of a lot better. So I got to go Phoenix on this one. I don't trust the Bulls right now. They've been 3 of my losses over the last 3 weeks. So fuck the Bulls.
Moving on to the next one. Speaking of Boston, Malin, we are up almost 20 points on Golden State right now. Steph Curry left the game with a foot injury that I didn't see, but he will not be returning with whatever is ailing him right now. So that's not good. But anyway, as far as this segment goes, we play the Nuggets on Sunday at 8 o'clock. Should be a pretty good game. Shaq, who do you have winning this game?
Give me Boston in this game. I have a little bit of confidence coming off of them. I say they win this game. Also, they're playing and they just ride that wave. So I'm gonna say Boston.
My God. Malin.
I'm going Boston too on this one. I mean, listen, they've won 16 out of the last 19. They've gone from the 9th seed to the 5th seed in just like a month and a half. All they're doing is winning basketball games. And the national pundits, FS1, ESPN, all their shows, they're still not giving Boston the credit that they deserve. In fact, they're still talking about Tatum being overrated, even though he's been playing lights out. Out of the 16 wins, he's been their leading scorer 11 times, and he's even led in rebounds 8 times during those 16 wins. Like, he's been playing great basketball. Boston as a whole has been playing great basketball. I thought that this coach was a terrible hire in the first 3 months of the year, but he has somehow turned it around. They're playing good. I'm never gonna bet against a coach that's won 16 out of 19 right now. They're just playing crazy.
Yeah, it seems like the national media is still. I hate the fact that they still call Tatum a soon-to-be star in the league. It's like he's averaging 30 some odd points right now, like, and it's not exactly new for him. I don't understand why this is still considered soon to be. Defensively, we have just been on absolute fire as of late, and I think even just taking the homer side out of this, Udoka should be considered coach of the year without a doubt. To turn this thing around within his first year coaching an NBA team is crazy. So with that being said, I'm obviously taking the Celtics to beat the Nuggets this Sunday night. So yeah, all of us are taking the Celtics on this one. That's 2 games in a row right there. We'll see what happens. Next one, Miami at Philadelphia. Malin, who do you have winning this one?
I have Miami winning this one. Philly went on a 5-0 tear when Harden first started playing. They've been dropping games left and right since then. They have not been playing very well as a cohesive team. Miami, I bet against them while they were in the middle of winning 12 out of 13. They've been 2-4 since then. But I do think that Miami is a better team. And, you know, I got to Hero, whatever you want to call him. He's actually been playing really good. He's been averaging 21 a game, and at like 6 out of the last 9 games, he's been the leading scorer. And so when you're not even relying on someone like Jimmy Butler to be the best player on the team, I think you're playing good basketball. So I'm going to go with Miami on this one.
I'm going to go with Philly on this one, only because of 2 things. One, they're at home, which is kind of whatever. But mainly, I think Philly needs to get back into the swing of things. Like, they were really hot when they first got Harden, and they've kind of cooled down a bit. If they want to go into the playoffs going against the best team in the East, I feel like they need to win this game to keep themselves as a powerhouse in the East. So I say Philly wins this one narrowly.
I'm literally to say my Heat. You kind of sort of explained to me best team in the East going on right now.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I have nothing but faith and confidence in my team to win this. It's kind of like,
all right,
what more do y'all want from me? This is generally to explain my own argument again for me. So,
wait, Jen, did you say Miami is the best team in the East or Philly's the best team in the East? Because Shaq said
Miami's the best.
Oh, they're the best team in the East? Okay.
Yeah.
Cute. Debatable. Okay.
I'm just going by the numbers mainly. Personal opinion. I don't think otherwise. But Utah and Brooklyn Monday night. I'm saying since this is at the Barclays Center, I say the Jazz end up winning this. That again, like we said earlier in the show, Dallas just beat Brooklyn at home with Spencer Dinwiddie. Again, that was Spencer Dinwiddie on a buzzer beater. So The Jazz, I think they can also get the job done in Brooklyn. They have been terrible at home this year. Obviously, no Kyrie there, and they just seem to entertain anybody that comes through that stadium. So, give me the Jazz to win this one in Brooklyn. Shaq.
I'm also gonna say the Jazz because, of course, it's in Brooklyn. These home games are kind of the weak point, so can't really hope for them. It's kind of a toss up, but I'm gonna go with Jazz.
And I'm going Brooklyn on this. I think that Kyrie's going to join them courtside again and dap some people and get another $50,000 fine from the Brooklyn Nets. It's going to be great. But I think that Durant is going to go off and beat Utah on this one. He's probably going to end up with like 35, 40 points. I'm going to take Brooklyn. They got to win at home at some point, right?
Eventually.
Not everybody has a man named Dimwitty in their team.
What'd you guys think about Durant dropping 50 on Sunday and then on Tuesday Kyrie dropping 60?
It just goes to show how much of a powerhouse that team can be. Can be at full potential, but you'll them being KD and Kyrie, you'll probably never get that consistently. But
I would say let's not be prisoners of the moment. I think Kevin Durant definitely is doing things that Kevin Durant can do, which is like drop 50 on team. Like he did that against the Knicks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it wasn't it in Madison Square Garden?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, who doesn't drop 50 on the Knicks in Madison Square Garden? But, okay, so Kyrie had 42 points, I think, in the first half, 42 or 48. And then he barely played in the second half, and he ended up with, 60 points?
Yeah.
First of all, boo to the Brooklyn Nets for taking him out of the game.
Yes.
Because we deserved as fans to see, what Kyrie Irving could have done in that game. It's just like Kobe shot 81 and they still took him out halfway through the fourth. It doesn't make sense to me when they do that. Let the man try to make history. See how well he can do. The man plays, 2 times in 4? It's not like he's playing home games right now. The next time he plays is in a week. You don't have to rest him. The man's had plenty of rest. Let the man go out there and ball. The only thing that I think is ridiculous is that I turned on the TV the next day and I'm hearing people like Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd and people talk about, is Kyrie Irving the best shooter in NBA history? Is he the most talented shooter in NBA history? Can we calm the hell down for a minute from that type of talk? Yes, he had a great game. Yes, he's a really great talent. But best shooter? Really?
I still wouldn't say best shooter, but do you think he's the best scorer?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because he wasn't... Even when he played with LeBron James, who averaged more points per game? LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even... people were even saying this week that the only reason why LeBron James is going to get the all-time points title or record or whatever it is you want to call it is because of his athleticism, not because of his talent of shooting the ball. But even LeBron James was the leading scorer on those teams.
What's the fucking difference? The man is still going out there balling.
I don't know.
Balling.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's stupid arguments like, oh, you only got the best score because athleticism. I was going, what the fuck is the difference? The man still got the title because the man went out there and balled. Y'all just make up any sort of argument because y'all just like to fucking argue.
You're speaking my language because people always want to try to dog LeBron James for some damn reason. But no, so I don't think that he's the most talented scorer in NBA history. There's so many other people. Do I even need to go through the list? Do you want me to go through some list of people I think are a more talented scorer?
You're good.
You want me to do
imagination.
Yeah, I mean we could be here all day. We can go from the likes of Jerry West to Elgin Baylor. We can go all the way up to Michael Jordan. I think Allen Iverson is a more talented scorer than Kyrie Irving. So no, he's not the most talented. He's a great player. Weird mind with the flat Earth thing, but great player. But most talented scorer, no. I mean, maybe in like the top 25 of most talented scorers, but please, come on.
I also want to throw out Devin Booker dropped 70 points. Are we saying that he's also better than Kyrie, like better scorer than Kyrie? Wouldn't necessarily say that. I just think it time and day team like that he played against was also important in that.
Whenever people score that many points, they always say that, right?
Yeah.
But I would think just raw ability to score points and make plays for yourself. I would probably put Kobe Bryant 1 in my book. But I would even put someone like James Harden above Kyrie Irving. Is someone that can create their own shot. And has done it consistently throughout their career. You're going to try to tell me that someone is the most talented scorer in NBA history and they've never won an MVP?
Right.
Come on. Let's not be prisoners of the moment.
There was a time in Houston a couple years ago where I feel like James Harden was like, in a 2-week span, he was almost averaging 50 points a game. Like, he had a stretch there where it was just ridiculousness.
Yeah, I mean, listen, LeBron James is 36, 37 years old. He just scored 56 and 50-some points within 2 weeks of themselves. Is he the most talented scorer ever? No, he's not. Great achievement on that particular game, and Kyrie Irving has a lot of talent. I don't want to take that away from him. But he's not even in the top 10 as far as like most talented scorers of the basketball in NBA history.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, Hawks at Knicks. Got a playoff matchup, rematch from last year. Tuesday night, 7:30. Malin, who do you have winning between these two teams?
This is at Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey Young was about to drop 55 on these people. I'm taking Atlanta in this one. Half the crowd's probably going to be rooting for Atlanta anyways. There's just something about stars going into what they call the Mecca of basketball, which I still don't know why it's called the Mecca of basketball right now. But they do, and it's always a big deal to these players. They, like visiting teams, want to play their best in Madison Square Garden. Like, it is like the pinnacle. No one wants to play there for a full season. But they all want to have career games there when they go play there from another team. So I'm going to take Atlanta in this one.
I'm going to agree with you. I say Atlanta wins this at MSG. They are just a better team right now. Like, Atlanta has a shot at making the playoffs because of the play-in tournament. New York is still on the outside looking in. I say Atlanta goes into MSG, handles their business, just like they did in the playoffs last year. And Trey Young I see him going off for 40+ points in this game. So, Shaq,
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna say New York wins this game.
All right,
gotta pose y'all. I'm gonna say these guys are gonna try to come out here at a point and vengeance, try to win out here at home. So let's go.
Okay, I would like to say that I really thought that Shaq was going to take Atlanta on this one. But I would also like to point out that whenever Shaq makes a pick, different from what we pick, there's always this high pitch in his voice of like uncertainty when he makes the pick. He's like, I'm gonna do this and go. So, but listen, man, I respect the pick. I really thought you were going to go Atlanta on that one. I thought that you and I were going to have one different team like this entire week, which means that I'm probably going to be on the losing end this week because my NBA picks are just garbage right now. I pick the teams that should win, and then they don't win. It's funny. That's what it is. It's great. Just watch all that great work I did during the NFL picks go to shit during the NBA season. It's wonderful.
Before we get out of here, anything else you guys want to mention? Shaq, any current sports issues? Any sideline reporters? Any?
I don't know. We already know my 2 cents about sideline reporting. Look, every time.
Actually, we didn't. We just saw the hand motion.
Look, every time we go kind of up anywhere other than the East Coast when it comes to sideline reporters, it's always pristine, especially up north. So
her name is Roz something or other. She works for ESPN. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
I would just like to say that Major League Baseball ended their strike.
Yes, thank you.
Last week, and the reason why we're talking about it at the end of the segment is that nobody really fucking cares. And I think it's stupid that they did this strike. They locked out the players. They played all this hardball for them to pretty much both get the agreement that they could have gotten 85 days ago. And we're still going to get all 162 games out of the season. So we had all this drama and stupidity for nothing. And I'm a little bit upset that Robert Manfred is still the commissioner of Major League Baseball because he doesn't even like the sport. He should probably leave. And I think that would be good for baseball. So it's sad that he's still the commissioner.
Do you think that this will have any bearing on your Mariners this year? Will the lockout, will that have changed any outcome of their season?
Two things on that. One, the Mariners played really good baseball last year. And my favorite team, this is my vice, is that I love a team that has not made the postseason in 21 years. It is the longest streak of any team in any professional sport. The Big Four in America that has not made the postseason. I was robbed of an entire offseason of optimism, fun, free agency, all that stuff. And before they did the lockout, the Mariners were really close to signing Chris Bryant from the Giants, who's a really good third baseman. And he ended up signing today for a 6-year, $102 million contract from the Rockies. And I do think the lockout kind of played a little bit into that because they kind of had to stop their negotiations like right in the thick of it. And I thought the Mariners were really going to sign him. I think my Mariners are still going to have a really good team. But I just hate that, it could have been a really fun offseason.
Yeah.
For myself and Seattle fans. And we kind of got screwed out of that. And, I said a couple weeks ago that Major League Baseball with this strike, what they really needed to have happen was that the stars needed to be able to play. They need to be out on the field. And one of the best stars, Tatis Jr. from San Diego, already has a fractured wrist. And he's going to be out for 3 months. And Major League Baseball has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to popularity right now. They've pissed off a lot of people. So having some of their best stars like not even being available to play at the beginning of the year isn't going to help things. So Major League Baseball is stupid. They're hurting, mismanaged on every level. They overshoot how important or how great they think they are in the landscape of sports in America. And they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. And I kind of wish they didn't do that because I'm a big fan of baseball. I loved it growing up. So I hope they get their act together.
All righty. Shaq, anything you wanted to mention?
No. I've covered all my bases.
And with that, I think we will get up on out of here. Next week, we'll have even more free agency signings. Again, this was only day one of the free agency moves. So by a week from today, we'll have a lot more will have happened by then. So we'll have a bunch of free agency to come at you guys with. So thank you all for watching, listening. We will see you all next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Okay.